Well, thank you very much. Now, like you said, my name is Patrick Oronsai. I'm a cultural resource consultant, and I've been in the cultural resource industry for over 4 years. I'm an artist by training. I'm into provenance research, and I've been working around it for the last 10 years, especially in trying to get repatriation and return of Benin objects in the diaspora. The problem of Benin did not start in 1897. The crisis started long before then. But the climax was that 18th of February, 1897, when salt loses its saltiness, it becomes saltless. Benin is the heart of Africa. Yeah, it's escapulated between latitude 0 degrees and longitude 0 degrees. What I'm saying, between Accra and Fanadopo. In the heart of that place is Benin City, the very center of the world. So when the Benin man says, I don't have this album, that Benin is the center of the world. Geographically, he's very right. What is missing here, like I said, is not the physical, but the spiritual. Benin City, was first called a city by the Portuguese 700 years ago. And the term Great Benin was first used in 1641. You can imagine how far back that is. Great Benin, where the king lives. In Benin, you say, Ore do not buy it. So it tells you the spirit, the force, and the power which this great city creates, sends out, and retrieves. The first thing we are going to do is to walk around what we have to offer the world. Our oil and gas is art and culture. That is what is missing.
Okay, thank you. My priest, good to have you here. It's an honor to have you here. Knowing your place in this city, where you are coming from and what you represent, it's a privilege.
Thank you very much.
You mentioned two things that are very critical to the rise of this city, the rise of this state. First, you said the issue is spiritual, which is also important. And you talked about we walking our way, showcasing what this city can offer to the world, which is very important. The question when they ask of what is missing in Benin City, first, before the transition to colony, this city was the most powerful city, most powerful empire. I believe there was a pivotal step to how the kingdom saw themselves to restore back the greatness of this city. The people must uphold who they were before and then showcase what makes them unique to the world. It is very important that people, first of all, they must know who they were. Because at the moment, democracy is currently ruling the society, which is lovely. But before democracy, there was monarchy. And the monarchy system and democracy are two different governments. If two governments are in the same location, there will always be conflict. Having the monarchy system and democratic system in the same house, we create conflict. Before the democracy system of government, it was made through the colonial masters, not the decision and the will of the people and the will of the kingdom. So Benin City must understand, the Edos must understand that There was a great kingdom, and there is a great kingdom, and there will be a great kingdom. For that to happen, they must embrace their nature, their royal nature, the power nature of this city, and love this city, and begin to bring out the best of this city to the world. That's an addendum to what you have highlighted, sir. We must begin to embrace the nature of who we were before the colonial masters.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
It's about 130 years in Benin fell. We have not recovered. The problem is the psyche on the day. Who were colonizers? They colonized over 201 towns, villages, kingdoms, stretching from Fanadopo all the way to Accra. Suddenly, we had our day, and we had our evening, and we had our night. We are yet to recover from that fateful day, February 18th, 1897. Yes, we live in a democratic setup, in a sovereign state. Correct. The Oba of Benin reigns. It's not sovereign. Correct. Because you don't have sovereign kingdoms in republics. But the difference here is that the Oba of Benin is different from other monarchies in Africa. The Oba of Benin is the spiritual hub of the Benin nation. He's the head of judiciary. He's the head of administration. He's the head of religion. It has not changed. He is still the heart. He's still the breath. He's still God's own representative to the Benin people.
Exactly.
In Benin, we have a very concise religious setup. You worship God, Agosa. You propitiate the deities, Awebo. You venerate your ancestors, Aroemi. You appease the strong evil one, Aoesu. But in the same vein, Agoba and Agosa, we worship the king the way we worship God. That tells you the frequency at which the Oba of Benin flowed. We don't share power with him, rather we give him all our powers.
Exactly.
Now the question is simply this. If you don't know where you're coming from, you can't know where you are. And if you don't know where you are, you can't know where you are going. Benin has been cosmopolitan for 500 years. That is a city where different nationalities live. Whether it's Olukumi that you now call Yoruba, whether it's the Igbo, whether it's the Hausa. Fulani is just yesterday when we were talking of the Benin setting. Everybody comes here to trade. Everybody comes here, especially at this time, November, December, when the festivities are going. People come back to pay their loyalty, come to pledge their fealty. Some come to pay homages. Trade is brought in. There's envoys from all over the world, especially Europe. For an example, in 1823, Benin was the first kingdom in the world to recognize the independence of Brazil. That means exchanging ambassadors. Prior to that time, in 1486, we exchanged ambassadors with the Portuguese, the Dutch, the French, even the Vatican City. But the truth is that every dog has its day. Great empires have come. Egypt, Greece, Rome, the Byzantine, the Ottoman Empire, all are shadows of their former self. But the force that keeps Benin going has kept us together. When you say Benin, it's a package that was put together by the white men. We call ourselves Edo. We call our kingdom Edo. We call our city, a capital, Oredo. We call our king Omonoban Edo. Everything said around that single word Edo. But our neighbors don't call us Edo. For an example, the Yorubas call us Aka. The Yorubas The near Yorubas, Ondo, Ekiti, whatever, they call us Ado, which is a Yorubanized version of the word Edo. Then the Igbos call us Idu. Idu is the progenitor of Benin royalty. Onyidu, that's what they call us. It is the Chekiri, our neighbors to the south, that call us Ubini. And the white man could not pronounce Ubini. They called us Benin. And by 1472, the Portuguese introduced us to the rest of the world as Benin. So it comes in different editions. So it's interesting. But the whole concept is, it is the Edo kingdom of Benin. When you refer to the Edo person, is what you now call Benin, Esan, Urobo. Some parts of Ondo, then some states, some city-states in Bayelsa, like Nimbe, they all claim descent from Benin. So it's an interesting thing that we can harness to build a base for our future. Like I said earlier, I said the greatest thing we have is our art and culture. 500 years ago, Benin exported their own version of kingship everywhere. And the most visible aspect of it is the Ada and Ebe. It's carried all the way from Oguta down to the Ewe of Ado, from the foothills of the Kukuruku Hills down to the swamp. The Ada and Ebe represents power and authority. Now, what we're looking at is developing tourism. Tourism is the easiest way of harnessing money from the civilized north from the developed north, the correct penance, to the developing south. I'll give an example. If, for instance, we put together a package and work on just the diaspora, I'm not saying the African American, I'm not saying the African European, I'm not saying the Chinese or whatever, but our own diaspora, our own people that left here, that have settled there in the last 50 years. They live in America, they live in Europe, Germany, Switzerland, France, Austria. They are black people, but their children in most cases are hybrid. They are neither European nor African. They are neither Beninese nor German. They are neither Edo nor French. Now, if we look at this group of persons, they are numbering about 250,000 families. I want them to come home once a year for a short period, Christmas period. They come home and they enjoy the benefits of what we enjoy every day: the tradition, the art, and the culture. Each person, for an example, will pay $5,000. That is a package. When you bring in 1,000 persons, that is $5 million. And you can run that series all the way from September into January. That's one. We can also take it to them. In the last 5 years, I've made a lot of trips into several countries in Europe. When you say Benin, the first thing that occurs to anybody here in the word Benin is art, culture, and beyond that one, deep tradition. I'm very knowledgeable about our art history and culture, but I don't understand our religion, because you have to be a participant to understand the religion. But our greatest damage to us and our future, it's not the church per se, it's not Christianity per se, but it's those who practice Christianity, in one word, the Pentecostal, the charismatic. What they don't understand is demonic. Like I said, we believe so much with God and we worship God. If you are not able to separate your tradition from your religion, you are in deep shit, because you can't move forward. If I say participate in my festival as a participating observer, not an ardent, it's a different story. We can't go for festivals. But I won't go because I say I'm a Christian. It is against my religion. Those are some of the things we also need to walk around. When I was growing up, Igwe was our end of year festivity. Everybody participated, whether you are Christian, Muslim, or African traditional religion. But today, it's a shadow.
You're very correct. You're very correct, please. From my perspective, I have a mission. And my mission is to restore the African power. If we had to connote that with the Benin City power, what they know you of is different from what you transact to the world. From my perspective, because before all this transaction, what brought the Portuguese to the Edo?
Trade.
What brought the British? Why were they so interested in Edo?
Trade.
That means they saw the empire. One, it was an innovative empire. First. Secondly, an empire that is full of authority, power. And also empire that is so creative. Empire that is so welcoming. They have this hospitality nature in them. For you to be powerful, it's what you can produce. What I can get from you. That's what makes you powerful. So for the Edo to be known, to be truly honored to the world, they must give the world such. You talk about the tourism, art and culture. That's a mirror. But beneath it, it is what I'm so interested. My question is, sir, if we are to move this city forward, why we attract people to this city? Why would people want to? What will make me leave New York? Apart from someone from diaspora, because the diasporas are great, but it's not enough. Why do people go to Dubai today? They are not concerned about their culture itself. They created environment, infrastructure,
Or own business.
exactly.
Business.
Exactly. If we think of this Western developed nation, what will make you want to visit is because they harness what makes them unique.
Let me give you an example.
Exactly.
The first thing you smell when you go into Europe is
Yeah.
coffee. The last thing you smell is coffee. There is no single coffee tree in the whole of Europe. When you go to Switzerland, Switzerland is known for what? Chocolate. There's no single cocoa tree in Switzerland. It is what you project that shows the world what you have.
Exactly.
Science and technology has been with us for a long time. When the white man came, we were apart. We were on the same frequency. That's it. When they made large cities, our city was different. I've been to Europe, I've been to more than 20 countries. Their roads are twisted and winding. In Benin, we had wide roads, straight roads. I'm not talking of today. I'm talking of 1472. That's over 500 years ago. Whereas the Europeans said that they saw street lighting in Benin 500 years ago. That you can travel from here to Lagos. You don't have to carry a weapon. What is that? Security. Everybody has a story of Adesua and Ogioboro. That is 1750. Adesua traveled from here to Obuluku with just a handmaid. That tells you there was security. So those are some of the things we're looking at. How were we able to harness what we have to build a functional security apparatus? Information gathering. The Benin man says the Oba hears with all his body. That is, there was a wonderful intelligence gathering. That's what is lacking. I'll give an example. About almost 15 years ago, I brought some Irish here to do business. We traveled all over the state. Oh, they saw a very illustrious people, because I remember one of them made a statement. Said, look, we've been traveling for the last 5 years. I'm yet to see one idle person on the streets. But what was lacking? There were so many security checkpoints, police, army, this, that. And the man asked the statement, are you at war? I said, no. Nobody will only carry his hard-earned cash to come and invest in a place that is not secured. Correct. The visibility of the armed members of the security apparatus, police, whatever, carrying weapons, frightens every investor. I've traveled by road across the West Coast from here to Senegal. Throughout my trip, all I hear is whistle in the French-speaking West African countries. Whistle, everybody's called to order. In Ghana, the baton. But in Nigeria, armored cars. And you want me to invest here? So those are some of the things. We have to look first and foremost what our crisis, internal crisis is. If we straighten it. So why did the Portuguese come here? They were looking for pepper. See this alligator pepper? Benin could load a ship in 2 months. That means we had a very wide network of trade. Benin was exporting 150,000 yards of cloth. That's the cloth, the cotton that finally gave birth to the jeans, the calico. Benin was exporting ivory. Ivory was used in piano keys, used in making handles of cutlery. For close to 700 years, we were able to supply elephant tusks. The white man took over 2,000 elephant tusks from the palace. What I'm saying is that we had something to provide. Understand what I'm saying? The English came here first time in 1553, not 1897. But they made a functional empire, kingdom, strong, that you can't conquer them. So what do? You negotiate a deal with. You understand what I'm saying? The French came here. The Dutch came. The Dutch factory was at Wharton, like you call Guatu today, and built the story building. By in the 18th century, there was a story building. Not that one at our area. It's not the first story building. But that may be the first story building in Benin City, but not the first story building in Benin Kingdom. So you have to understand the height from which we have crashed. We must look back. That's it. Assess ourselves. Carry out an internal audit.
Exactly.
That one will give us an opportunity to package this system for the future which you are set.
Exactly.
The beauty here is that you are young, you are still energetic, you can make projections. Yes, in 20 years, this is what I can achieve. I'm in my evening, I'm 70 years. But what I'm trying to do is to leave a strong foundation. That's Regeneration.
That's it. Beautiful. That's my tip. That's it. Thank you so much.
I believe that this is going to be a series. It's not a one-shot.
It's not a one-shot thing.
It has to be a series because I can dream your dream. I can visualize your vision. I can also see your ambition. A man who has no vision can have an ambition.
Exactly.
So I'm just seeing myself in you 30 years ago.
This is what I told.
I must be honest with you, because we had dreams, but remember, dreams die first. The greatest temptation of this world is to mistake your dreams for reality. Correct. And the greatest defeat is when you are forced by circumstances beyond your control to surrender your dreams for reality. Lucky is representing a generation.
Yes.
It represents a generation who still has deep belief in Nigeria.
That's it.
For me, it's a painful thing to say. I lost it long ago. I left school I served in the 6th youth service package. Before I finished my youth service, I got a job. I got to town. Within the first 6 months of my job, I got a car. The next thing, they offered us housing loan. So if I had taken it at 30, I would have had my base built, a car, a house. The next thing, I want to raise a family. Because I'm packaged in the system that is functional. I don't have to steal. I work, I retire. But it was not like that. I'll give an example. Traveling to England in 1975 was 90 naira. Students' tickets. Benin, Lagos, Lagos, London, London, Lagos, Benin. Can you believe that? If I take a trip now, I spend 4 million. Exactly. In the same country. So for me, my dreams died. For you, you are seeing Nigeria on the threshold of taking asset.
Our second question: where do you believe modern strategy must bow to ancestral wisdom? And where must ancestral wisdom adapt to modern realities?
That is a very deep statement. Your ancestors are those at the top of the tree which you climb down from. Wisdom is wisdom. It is not bound by time. It is not escapulated. Wisdom is wisdom. Facing reality, that's exactly what you say. I cannot use the mentality of post-1897 Benin to package Benin of 2025. First and foremost, I'll give an example. Benin was a closed state. Know what I mean by closed state? You can't just come in and walk out. Everything was streamlined. Everything was arranged. It's like a foreigner coming into Nigeria today. You acquire a visa. You come to the airport. You provide all your documentation. You pass through immigration. You pass through custom. That's the way it was. Benin was defeated and incorporated into the new system called Nigeria, area of the Niger. We can't live in the cocoon of the past. We must adapt to the realities of the time. That's number one. Number two, we must identify what in the past made us great and expand on it to give greatness to our children. See where the problems are?
Exactly.
But we are stunted by a system that is radicalized, by a system that is unrepentant in its fraudulent package, that is unrepentant in its corrupt practices. You can't be great. I give an example. 40 years ago, if you are a junior officer and you buy a car, you dare not take it to your office. You will park it in one corner and trek to the office. Because you've not reached the frequency to own a car by the standard of the nation. But today you see a 19-year-old driving a 50 million naira vehicle. Is that progress? That's dumping ancestral wisdom and facing the realities of this time? No. Wisdom is flat. It's not up and down, it's flat. You have to be wise. What is wisdom? You wise up. You wise up. You think. You become a homo sapien, a thinking man, and use that, your thought, to build something that will generate your future. Because when a man translates his genes from one generation to another, he transcends immortality. When you have a child, you have moved from your generation to another. When that child is able to move to the next generation, you are an immortal. That's my approach today. The question you ask is deeper than what we are seeing on the surface. It's a package itself. Looking at the past, assessing the present, and projecting for the future. That's a talk for another day.
Thank you for, from my own point of view, for the question she asked is the harmonizing the past
With the present.
with the present, and then making of the future. So what that connote means that you have the wisdom, the historical wisdom, because right now we've been sitting here, you have been highlighting things that we don't even know about the past. So how can we marry both? Because each generation have their experiences and their level of knowledge. I love the way you define wisdom. Wisdom is not stick to time. Wisdom is wisdom. What makes wisdom from the old is the experience. So what she's trying to say is, considering the historical experience, how can that be harnessed with the current reality of this generation so that we can have a better future? I suppose that's a question. Oh, yes.
Well, my take on that is very simple.
Yes.
Take a good look at those in the past,
Yes.
the great men. Assess each one. Try to emulate. Yes. Look at the good things. I'll give an example. Our people had traveled to Europe for education 500 years ago. It shocks you. They traveled there, they came back, they were educated. They didn't translate it down. Schools were opened in Benin as early as 1516. You know that shrine by the High Court?
Yes.
At Sapele Road?
Yeah.
It was a seminary, a school of religious studies. Aosa Nengwe will go there to teach. But by 1641, we drove the white people out. And they took with them their education. I believe I'm beginning to catch and have light in what you say. Yes, what made our ancestors great? We extracted. We jettisoned those ones that will pull us back.
Mm-hmm.
And we look at the mentality of the average Edo person today.
Exactly.
His belief, his diction, and his dreams. If we're able to put those ones together, probably we'll be able to work out a future. But we thank God for one thing. We don't have the mentality of, no, I cannot move. No, you can move. You can't go to the next level.
Exactly.
But there's an intangible material that's required. Belief. If you believe in yourself, you can touch the skies. So I think that is what we should try as much as possible to inculcate in our younger people, that you can make it without being fraudulent. Pick a substance, develop it, and the sky is your limit. In fact, the sky is no longer the limit. We are shot beyond the sky. That's it. Space is your limit. All right.
So we often speak about African sovereignty. In practical, everyday terms, what would you say sovereignty looks like or will look like for the Edo people?
In the current reality of our communities, we don't have the power.
God bless you. God bless you.
The card is not in our hands. So sovereignty is going back and checking the mirror before this colonization. What attracted the westward? I will begin to dwell in those uniqueness. So for the Edos, for the Benin Empire that was once and is still the greatest empire, innovation has always been the core. Creativity abounds. Entertainment is in the blood. Hospitality reigns among them. If every of these uniqueness is harnessed independently without mirroring themselves, genuineness from themselves, creativity within, that's true sovereignty.
That's a good one.
That's true sovereignty.
That's a good one. Now take a good look. Everything in this room. What did we produce?
Exactly.
Production capacity is sovereignty.
That's it.
Do you know we don't make toothpick, it's imported? Yes, we don't have the technology to make toothpick. Toothpick is made from bamboo.
Exactly.
You don't have iron and steel industrial. You want to industrialize. You will keep on buying and buying and buying. I'll give you an example. In 1486, I keep on referring to history. The white man brought a gun. The Oba convinced them to give him the gun. He took the gun to Igun Street. It's called Idun Gunenya Nugi. When the white man returned 2 years later, we had 10,000 guns. We made gunpowder. 10,000 guns. That's innovation.
That's innovation.
The white man brought the spoon. You know what we call spoon in Benin? Kuye. The real word is square. It's a Portuguese word. Square. But we call it a kuye. The white man brought the banana or edebo. Today, you have banana spread from Badagry to Calabar. But the greatest of all will shock you. Cassava. Gari. The white man brought it. We were able to carry out a scientific development of the cassava that today is the mainstay of our economy. We eat today because of cassava. But in the process too, we had rice. Ize. The white man did not bring this Ashantic rice that we are eating now. We had our own local rice. The word yam is from Inya. The white man has no yam. He met the yam for the first time here. This, I saw it from a write-up in the 1470s. So when you weigh most of these things, it's a disaster. I give an example. Today, if I must eat yam, it has to come from Benue. If I must eat beans, it has to come from the north. If it's not an indigenous crop, there will be no name for beans in my language. Tomatoes, we don't have a local name because it's importation. Onions, the Hausa man calls it alubasa. We bring it in. But we were loading ships of pepper. Pepper. The white man eventually brought the red pimento pepper. And that one destroyed our local pepper, akpoko. So I'm beginning to see your light. The deeper we look inwards, the greater the hope.
That's it.
Of regeneration.
That's it.
So I think I will have to go and prepare myself for the next thing. I'm being straight with. So I handle.
Thank you, sir. Next question.
African development has been externally defined. What does an Edo-designed development philosophy look like when no foreign template is involved?
You don't have a sovereignty. You don't have a scientific base. You know what the Japanese did? They reduced science and technology to Japanese. They reduced science and technology to Chinese. They reduced science and technology to Korean.
We were on the same level with India 70 years ago. We were on the same level with Singapore 70 years ago. We were on the same level with Taiwan 70 years ago. We were on the same level with Korea 80 years ago. They reduced technology to the local language. Then you can technology is not transferred. It is grabbed. You grab it and run away with it. I'll give an example, cocoa. You know, cocoa is not a local product. Cocoa comes from South America. The Spanish brought it to Fanadapo. Somebody stole the seedlings and brought it here. Today, we are among the world's greatest producer for cocoa. The West. That's when I say Niger River to Ogun River. That's the base of cocoa. We stole it. Nobody willingly give you knowledge. You either seize knowledge or you steal knowledge. The Japanese send their children to school in the Americas, in Britain, in Germany, even in Russia. All they were looking for is technological knowledge. Even if I go and read engineering, design, where am I going to use it? When we were growing up, we had Volkswagen of Nigeria in Lagos. We have Leland in Ibadan. We had the other one, Anmako, in the east. Pojo was producing cars in Kaduna. Well, we just have to grab technology. If the oil and steel industry had worked, it's simply acquiring a template. I don't like to talk about it, but for 30 months, the East was escapulated. We covered them from all ends. They survived. They created technology in Old Biafra. They got petrol and aviation fuel from palm oil. That knowledge died with the war. You understand what I'm saying? So those are some of the things we need to look inward. Technology will not be given to you. The white man doesn't want you to be free. The white man doesn't want to create a situation where both of you will be on the same frequency. You understand what I'm saying? So he will feed you what he believes you need. As long as we are exporting our raw materials to Europe and the Americas and importing finished products, good night.
Yes, sir. But Patrick, sir, you said good night, sir?
Good. Yes. I'm asking you. You produce everything. Look at this rare minerals. We have it here. We have uranium. Are you aware? In Old Gongolo, we have uranium. We have gold. We have bauxite. We have tin. We have aluminium. Anything you can think of. What have we done?
That's it.
We are the 6th largest producer of what? Oil. But do you know at one time we were importing bitumen from Venezuela? They call it the Venezuela heavy crude. And yet, Edo State has 35 billion metric tons of bitumen. Ondo has 84. Lagos has about 30. We have not even gone into developing our bitumen. Bitumen is the base for carbon black tire. The waste is asphalt. You extract the oil, plastics, anything you can think of. We are recycling slippers. We're recycling plastic plates. Look, if you wake up in the morning and try to look at the crisis that is Nigeria, at 12 noon, you will have hypertension. If you don't back out at 6 p.m., you're in the hospital. Lucky, this is my belief.
Yes, sir.
You have started something
which will grow beyond your wildest dreams.
Yes.
If we're able to put this together quarterly at the least, or bi-monthly, you would have built a base. We are going to invite, I'm not an all-knowing, we invite other people. Yes. You've discussed with the cultural resource person. Please call somebody in the pharmaceutical industry. I could get you one. It's a professor of ethnopharmaceuticals. You know what I call it? The native doctor. It's a professor of pharmacology, but his area of specialization is herbs, bark of trees, and root. I will get him to sit with you.
Exactly. That's it.
These are some of the things I can contribute to this stuff. I can bring people in the heavy industry who will also sit with you. You throw these questions at them, tap their brains, psych their.
That's it.
That this you are.
They have a lot to give.
You are on a very, very right track.
Thank you, sir.
Many of us may not understand what it is doing, but I'm frightened at the depth of what you are trying to do. It is beyond. It gives me goose pimples when I think back, because these were things we did about 40 years ago. But
40 years ago.
Yeah, 40 years ago.
Yes, you guys are taking note of all this.
Yes, by 1985, similar programs came up. Why? You know, we moved projections for 5 years in Nigeria. In Asia, they made projections for 25 years.
That's it.
In Europe, they made projections for 50 years. In 50 years, where are we going to be? That is how they make their projections. I ate in a restaurant that was 680 years old. The restaurant. When next I see you, I will bring you the tissue paper. I grabbed them as souvenir. It has been there for 680 years.
Wow.
Where did we get it wrong?
Exactly.
That one is a topic. It's a
topic on its own.
Where did we get it?
Take note of that question. Yes.
Where did we get it wrong? How did we find ourselves where we are today?
That's it.
I bought my first car for 3,600 naira.
3,600.
The balance money, I used it in drinking with my friends for 2 weeks. I was given 4,000 naira. I bought a brand new Volkswagen. I tore off the cellophane. What 4,000 naira will not give me a good meal.
Oh.
When I was in Geneva, I had a couple of Benin guys who takes me out every evening. One day they didn't come and I wanted to drink beer. So I decided to go hang out on my own. When I did the conversion, every bottle of beer I took was 73,000. And that was the last time I thought about it. Stopless of going to do it. Every bottle of beer. I have the photographs. I took it. Pizza. Is it not 4,000 here?
Mm-hmm.
A piece of pizza is 45 Swiss franc, which is about 40 euros. How much is that? 80,000 naira.
80,000.
Yeah, we are finished. We are dead. But if we keep on looking at that, we will never get out of the hole.
See,
I'm impressed, young man.
thank you, sir.
I'm very impressed.
Thank you, sir.
To think about it alone
Yes,
is progress.
that's it.
To attempt to establish it is spiritual.
It's spiritual. That's why I love when he said spiritual.
And you see, what is not ordained in the spirit cannot manifest in the physical.
That's it, sir.
That's how God designed the world. That's it.
So my fear is, without any apologies to anybody, the future will have to be wrestled with the gods.
That's it.